and welcome to this part of the edTPA. We're going to be looking at the context for learning. And you know, without saying much, you can tell about the context of where I'm at. Again, developing a solid context would give your edTPA platform a much better base to work on. The more the person knows about your context, and the more you know about it, the better off you will be in developing your assessment. So here we go. Task 1, Context for Learning Information. All of the content areas have practically the same format for this Context for Learning. And you've already done your Context for Learning on another assignment. But for this one, just go ahead and mark what's appropriate. And you notice here it's going to ask you, where's the city where you are teaching located? And just put in the city, put an X there. Do not name the city. Again, you're going to talk about your school quite anonymously. List any special features of your school or classroom setting. Don't put none. Describe your school. Describe what makes your school special. Describe the students who are going there. And anything else that would describe your school to a total stranger. That's what you're doing because you are describing this to a total stranger. Also talk about the district, if there are any district, school, or cooperating teacher requirements. Don't put none. Think about where your material is coming from, how you are planning, how you are pacing this. Is information coming from your cooperative teacher, or are you making this up all on your own? Describe this information here. Also, if you are developing your own curriculum, you can describe some of this here, and you're going to put your resources down later on. Now, about the class featured in this segment, the name of the course, type in the full name of the course. If you have a name of the course that doesn't describe fully what the course is, go ahead and put it in parentheses. So for example, if you are doing reading 1, what does that mean? Does that English 1? Whatever it is, go ahead and define it in parentheses if you have to. What is the length of this course? You put down your X's here. That's all you need to do. You can leave this part blank. What is the class schedule? Type it out here. Type out if you have a daily schedule of 50 minutes each, if you have modified block periods, if you have changing schedules, A-B schedules, whatever it is, put it down there. Now, do they need to know the times? No, they really don't need to know the times of your classes. Just what is the schedule? Is there any ability grouping or tracking in this class or in the classes you are at? You can put here, there are no ability group or tracking, whatever you want to put there. Just don't put none. Put a sentence there. That's helpful. If there is ability grouping, for example, if you are teaching trigonometry, I am sure that students need to pass certain competencies. For example, students must pass Algebra 2 before being recommended for this course. Whatever that is, type that in here. Identify any textbook or instructional program you primarily use for your subject area. Type those things in here. And if it is a textbook, you can put a bibliography here. That's really helpful because the score may be reading your material and says, oh, wow, you're using a book from 2001 and well, it's almost 20 years old. So that helps fill out some things for the score. List other resources you have. List the resources that you use. You may even think about, people don't think about libraries or outdoor classrooms or museum information, whatever it is to help you in your segment here. About the grade level composition, again, put this in a sentence. All of my students are 10th graders. Number of students in your class, just type in a number here. And we'll scroll down. The number 3, people just jump and start putting in information here. Read this over carefully because you're going to be looking at, for task 3, working on samples from 3 of your focus students. And at least one of the focus students must have an identified learning need. Or read all this part here about what that means. But look at the note. For California candidates within your edTPA, you must include an English language learner, a student with an identified disability, and a student from an underserved education group. Now, number 2, read the little footnote there. California candidates. Now read this. If you do not have any English language learners, and I always get this question, select a student who is challenged by academic English. If you do not have a student with an identified disability or a student who is from an underserved education group, select a student receiving tiered support within the classroom or a student who often struggles with the content. There are always students who struggle with content, and we can get into that in just a moment. But students with IEPs or 504s, you can list them here. You can list them individually. In fact, it might help you list some things individually because sometimes your support, accommodations, and modifications and the IEP goals are going to be different for these particular students. So you may have 2 or 3 students with different needs. It's okay to list them down differently. Again, it gives a clearer picture of what you have in your classroom for your score. And then you can just simply delete that example. And the reason you want to delete it is so that you don't get confused and your score won't get confused either. On this next section, students with specific language needs, go down here. Again, these are looking at different students that you may have, your English language learners, or students who are redesignated English language learners who may have struggled with some of the content or some of the words that you might have. What kind of support modifications, accommodations are you making for your students here? And students with other learning needs. This is where you can put down students who are struggling. They're struggling academically. They may be struggling readers, or there are other things that they are struggling with, or they're continually absent. How are you helping them? How are you supporting them, making accommodations and modifications for your students? These are your best things that you can do to help the student along. All right? So that's basically it for the context of learning. Fill this out as much as you can. And the more information you give here, the better you will be in developing and putting together your assessment portfolio. Well, that's it for the edTPA Context for Learning. Continue working on building your assessment portfolio, one step at a time. Good luck to you, and if you have any questions, please let us know. Take care.